At this point, I'd like to go ahead and begin to talk a little bit about developing leverage with regard to the structure for Network Magic itself to sort of give a little specificity to the systemic perspective leverage presentation that hopefully you've watched already. So the idea is to take the model that's been developed of the interactions that are relevant to the situation for Network Magic and look at the different classes or categories of alterations that one can think about making to the the model itself so that it would in fact produce a different set of behaviors. So if I go back to the model that was developed for Network Magic, looking at the support organization, other organizations, and customers, and realizing that the situation was initially founded on the idea that support was having difficulty maintaining an accept or a desired level of support readiness because other organizations were in fact raiding resources from support. What the thought that initially comes to mind is that one could simply the management of the organization could issue a policy saying the other organizations are not allowed to raid resources from support. Now, so this actually that action would actually turn out to be a number 4, evolve the system, and I'll put numbers on these that tie it back to the different classes or categories of leverage. So while that would be a quick and easy fix, it would in fact be good for support, though not good, actually negative for the rest of the organization that believes that that's the best place for them to find resources. And I remember in the Russell Ackoff videos, in numerous instances, he said, never enhance any part of the system unless it enhances the system overall. And this simply issuing that policy for no resource rating would in fact improve support, but it would actually have a negative effect on the other organizations. So it's one should look for a better answer. Another thought, because support continues to talk about being overloaded with all of the support requests from customers, one might consider migrating to self-support, which would be where there is in fact access to questions and answers online so customers can look up and solve their own problems. Though it's perceived that this would require a number 2 level of change to the system, a mind of the system itself, because in most organizations, support believes that they are in fact responsible for supporting their products, and a lot of support organizations can't imagine allowing customers to provide their own support. It's simply not part of their mental model for their set of responsibilities. Additionally, one could consider actually integrating customer support into the support system itself, whereby customers were in fact plugged into the support system if they chose to, so that they could actually add to the question and answer knowledge base that supported the entire customer base. And I'm aware of situations where that has been done with phenomenal results. There are a lot of high-tech products that customers are using where customers are almost as knowledgeable as the support staff about the operation of those products, and they would in fact relish the thought of actually being able to contribute to the support of the products. That also would represent a number 2 changing the mind of the system in terms of what support believes is in fact their responsibility. Another thought is that all of the support that's required is because of problems customers are having with the products, either because that there are faults in the products that there are failures that have to be taken care of, or there are problems understanding how to use the product. Either way, they are in fact generating support requests so that the organization could operate to engineer support requirements out of the product itself. That would in fact require an information flow that probably doesn't exist in terms of support providing information to engineering in terms of what problems are in fact creating the greatest resource demand on the support organization, that engineering could take a look at and figure out if they could in fact re-engineer the product in some way so that that support requirement would simply dissolve. That's an information flow that's probably not in the system itself. And one might think about expanding expanding support's responsibility itself in terms of simply tasking support to hire more people so that there are excess resources in support for the rest of the organization to raid, and making it support's responsibility to provide customer support and qualified resources to the rest of the organization. This part of that is a number 11, a buffers question in terms of actually expanding the size of the trained support staff that's in existence, and the rules of the system in terms of altering what it is that is the support organization's responsibility itself. Now these are not all of the possibilities, though these are the ones that initially came to mind from looking at the nature of the structure and what's being perceived as the problem. Though here's the place that most organizations end up headed towards becoming lemmings going off of the cliff, because from looking at the nature of the interactions that exist and approaches to altering that set of interactions to allow the system to operate differently than it used to, what would be appropriate at this point would be to in fact evolve a new model with all of these interactions as part of the model, so that one could do the same thing that was done when the model was built, which is to look and say, are there in fact other implications of these changes that we ought to look at and pay attention to, so that we know whether or not there are going to be what would be unexpected consequences if we didn't look for them, prepare for them, and deal with them or dissolve them in advance. So it's not enough to simply identify places where you can change the structure to have it do what you think it needs to do. You also have to look at those changes and say, are there in fact other things, are there implications of those changes beyond simply altering the existing model that I'm trying to deal with? Hope this has been informative. See you in the next video. Bye.